Hey, I'm super excited to be filming this short little video. It's on Lagmaron's co-op boss fight. I was inspired and motivated by Pikachu Pokemon. The comments asked if there'd be any co-op videos coming out, particularly the Phoenix co-op, but since this weekend it's Lagmaron, I thought why not come out with a short video on Lagmaron instead, and then maybe next week focus on Phoenix. I do have a couple of tips and tricks. I do have a couple of tips and tricks to make it work. I'm not a 1 or 2 million point player. If you go over here to co-op battle, you'll see there are players that hit even the 2 million range. I barely pushed 652,000. I don't like changing my runes. As long as I hit 500,000, I'm fine. So this is like a pretty standard array. And keep in mind, with Lagmaron, there are a couple things I want you to be aware of. One is, you should always be shooting for 500,000 damage. Because with 500,000 damage, you're getting 2 books and 1350 crystals, mana crystals. If you scroll down all the way to 1 million, you'll notice that you still get 2 books and not a substantial amount of mana crystals. So there's really no difference other than these wonderful, mind you, legendary stone shards. But even then, it's not a big difference. If you're hitting over 500,000, you should expect to be in the top 1,000, around 36. Hitting it even higher, you can get up to 44, and then if you're lucky, top 500, that's 46. I mean, you're seeing small increments of like 2 for every 100 you get up, but your primary focus should be getting on the 2 books at 500,000. That should put you around the top 10% or higher, which is a really, really good starting point. Now, my recommendation is to not follow my team, but I do have a really, really good advice. And one of those is you can actually, this is a perk of the game, you can actually select these teams and copy them. But the problem with that is, if you copy the team, are you going to get 2 million like this player did? Not quite, because you might not know when to play the team or when to play the units or how to play the units. And one way to do that is to actually look up the name. So in this case, I can go up and look up, one of these players. For example, Savior L. We're going to go ahead and look up Savior L because this is, a Savior player. So more than likely in individual ranking, you'll see him up top. And there he is, right? Here she is. Number 5, if you select him, you can go to battle record. And sometimes these players have their privacy setting on, so you cannot see their battle record. But before I got on stream, I thought, I wonder if any of these players that hit in the top 1 million don't have their privacy settings on. And wouldn't you know it? Me and Weichen. So Weichen here does not have the privacy settings on, which gives us an awesome opportunity to look into how they, how they get 2 million points, because he had 1.999. I mean, right there, that I'd round up. So go to individual, scroll down, and you'll see Weichen right here. His privacy settings or her privacy settings are not on lockdown. So we have the pleasure of looking at all of the previous matches. Right here, inject magic power, 342,000, 205. I imagine they're testing stuff, right? Trying to get as high as they can. 134, 929, 1.3, 1.5. We're looking for 1.9, right? And here it is towards the bottom, the big 1.9 million damage. This is with mine Weichen. If I wanted to, which I'm going to do, I can hit replay and I can watch it from Weichen's perspective. We're going to do that. Before I do, I want to point out a couple of things. Look at the team and their legendary stones. If you don't have these legendary stones, right, on either of these teams, I'm sure you can get 500,000 points still. You don't have to have these to be like, shooting for 2 million. But Bernard's Greenstone, it'll probably work. Verdehile's purple is necessary. If you don't have Verdehile's purple, then you'll probably want to go with a different stone, and we can talk about that where we're playing this match. So let's go ahead and watch the replay from Wei Chen's perspective. I imagine I have permission. If I don't have permission to do this, either way, I owe you a pizza because this is going to be epic, and I'm super excited that we get to share this on the channel. So here we go. Lagmaron, we're going to start it at 1x view. So you have Wei Chen pulling Bernard to get the speed up, and then boosting with Shannon to get attack up and defense down. What I want you to focus here is actually at the top. There are a couple of factors you have to be aware of. The first and most important one is that whatever dots are put on Lagmaron will be cleansed on the second, we'll call this power up. So on a second power up, you'll see all of these dots get cleansed. That's one of the reasons why you'll see some teams running 2 Verdehiles, because then they can guarantee that blood ring landing and getting mana gain back from it. So we have attack buff up again to re-up their attack, because if it expires, you don't get the bonus attack that comes from it. So another defense buff to prevent a bunch of damage. And then did you see at the start of the second power up, the entire cleanse? You're going to see it again on the 4th power up. So mentally, you just have to map it out that on power up 2 and on power up 4, there's a cleanse. And when it comes to timing, watch how many dots can go from one power up to the next power up, even with triple 3 mana speed. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and let you see that typically before he gets his 4th power up and in between his 3rd to 4th, he will only be able to get one of the mana or one of the dots to expire. In this case, because they postponed the attack a little bit on the 4th power up, he actually got both of the dots to expire, which is really, really neat. So keep that in mind. Slot 2, power up 2, and power up 4 completely eliminates all the dots. One of the things you're going to notice is that players tend to use emojis because you're not necessarily on the phone talking to each other, right? I mean, if it were like your friend and you had their phone number, that would be great. But if you're an alliance member or like a teammate and you like to play together, one of the things that a lot of people like to do is show when they're going to use their Chloe. Because have you ever been in a match where you Chloe to defend one of those big hammer hits and your team member then Chloe's and you get like a double Chloe, but unfortunately like there's no benefit to double Chloeing. It's not like double shield heals you, right? So that happens way more often in matches where you do not use the emoticons. So let's look out and see if Wei Chen uses the emoticons to show whether or not they're going to use their Chloe. The second thing you need to notice too is that they're not always using shields or preventative damage to prevent the first power-up hit. Although it can be really deadly and strong, notice how this Lagmaron turned around and slammed the first unit and he didn't try and pull Chloe to protect. That's because if you look at the power-ups again, the second power-up is a very strong line hit. And because the line hit is really, really strong, you want to protect yourself from it. In this case, he pulls Chloe, protects himself. He has low mana cost cards, so he can cycle to get Chloe back. That's a really important piece. Look at this, 2 mana, 2 mana, 3 mana, 1 mana cost spell. By the time this 4th spell comes up, which is another line hit, right? You want to defend against the line hits. The other team will either have Chloe ready or he will have Chloe ready. So check this out. In his hand again, via cycling, by the time the 4th comes around, he's already got his Chloe back in his hand, and this is without any violent procs. One of the things I want to point out with Mie is that it's best to use their attack power skill when they have the attack boost up. So on this Lagmaron, they get the attack boost up every, is it 15 seconds? We'll actually go ahead and count it because I'm not too familiar with how often it happens. But you'll notice Mie is going to either hold the Chloe or let this person use the Chloe. I imagine when you have this much synergy, you're not having to use these emoticons because like you saw when we were scrolling through their battles, they've done this so many times that I wonder when they'll use their emoticons. And by emoticon, I mean you click on your name and you send out the little girl with hearts. That signifies you're ready to do a Chloe. A couple of other really important things to share. Orochi is absolutely necessary for any 1 million damage games because Orochi can break the shield and put him in this like hibernating position. I don't know if I'd call it hibernating because I think if a bear gets beat up, they probably wake up from hibernating. I mean, someone in the nature realm can inform me about this, but it looks like it. Maybe this injury phase, this ER phase. But either way, when he's in this phase, he takes the most amount of damage, and the only way to guarantee it is to ensure that Lagmaron gets hit however many times his shield shows. So the first time his shield shows, it's like 8 times, and then the next time it's like 12, and then it's 15. I think it like adds 5 times each time. And so in this case, you already see that they're at about 1 million, over 1 million with 55 seconds left. I imagine they were cutting it close for the 2 million. So what we're looking for again here is using Chloe at the right time. Look at that. Lagmaron just took out 1 unit, took out 2 units. I mean, he's on his 3rd unit, and Orochi has Purple Stone for a reason. Orochi's Purple Stone prevents them from getting to the 2nd line. So you could see if Orochi had died there, Lagmaron would have been able to get to his back line and potentially have killed him immediately. In this case, Chloe is able to protect the 2nd hit, the Mega Power hit, and he cleansed himself. So now he's healed from all the defense downs, all of the Verdehile blood rings, and they have to proc that again. Those dots will be removed at the 4th power up again. And notice one other factor is Lagmaron will always attack the team that is doing the most amount of damage. So in this case, Mie is doing the most amount of damage, and so Lagmaron is attacking that side. He already got through the front line because they weren't able to Chloe it. And if you look at what's going on in the back line now, is you have Orochi, and this whole back line's vulnerable. So he saves up the Chloe in hopes that it will protect the back line, give them, I don't know, enough like leg to stand on to protect them from the millions of damage this guy can land. But look at that. He has over 20 at this point. That's how fast it's going. Over 20 on the defense of hits. Orochis are usually on Violent, and so if you do not have your Orochi on Violent, I highly recommend putting your Orochi on Violent. That'll ensure that you can get those 20 hits because it only costs 2 mana to push out Orochi, and Orochi hits, 7 times? And so 3 Orochis takes out the most amount of hits that Lagmaron can even have. So you'll notice another factor to consider is the elemental weakness or advantage. Sophia is a wind unit and Lagmaron's a wind unit, so you get to do a really good significant amount of damage. Verdehile is a fire unit, so you get to do elemental advantage damage. The only thing you do not want, do not ever sub a red unit for a blue unit. Blue units will get destroyed quickly, very, very quickly, unless it's someone like a Megan in the back, like you see here, that's solely there to cast attack up and acceleration. You want to try and push as much acceleration in your team as possible with damage so that you can get your mana as quickly as you can. They are close. I imagine it's like a nail-biting session where they're saying, can we get the 2 million? Like, can we break it? I mean, there's Sophia with attack up 3 and the spell did 13,000 damage on the last hit. Their siege did 20,000 damage on his final hit there, putting them almost at 2 million. So here it is, a perfect depiction of how to run an effective battle. I'm super grateful for Maichin, and I know that Guardian players, I do have to say this, it's a big caveat, Guardian players know their privacy settings, and a lot of them will prevent people from watching. I think there's a big strategy behind it when it comes to ranked battles. I can't imagine that they would want to prevent co-op battles because it's beneficial to everybody to understand how to play it. And so I'm super grateful that Guardian Weichin chooses to have their privacy settings open. I know that a few of my guild members also choose to do that because other guild members have requested to see their matches to understand the play better. And so thank you for watching. I hope that showing this was beneficial and that you got an idea for the cleanses and got an idea for the attack damage and which units to run. I recommend going here and just choosing, you know, a team that fits for you. Like if you don't have Verdehile, find a team that doesn't have Verdehile, right? They definitely exist. If they're in the top 15 or 20, you can. So for example, this team right here does not have Verdehile. So if you don't have purple Verdehile, don't even worry about it. Just go here and click copy. Keep in mind, you will have to match the stones. I don't think it matches the stones when you copy their team. That's one factor. And the only way you can match their stones is if you can go to their team here, right? All the way to individual, scroll down. And if they're available, like Weichin is, you can click battle record and then see their stones that they played. This is super helpful. Keep in mind, none of these stones on at least his side were legendary. So you don't need a legendary stone to make this happen. On his case, for Mai, he has the wickedly powerful legendary stone with Sophia. But again, even that's not necessary to hit 500,000. None of this is. And you don't even need, I mean, check this out. You don't even need units that are level 15 plus 30s. I mean, this is a level 13 Orochi, a level 13 Verdehile, right? Siege is wickedly strong, and if you have them, great. If you don't have Siege, maybe you need to run another unit like Sieq or Hua, or maybe another single target hitter like Kali, if that's the best you have, right? Someone that's fire that can do a lot of damage. Those are great choices. If you don't have Verdehile purple, you can substitute again with another single target hitter that hits several times, like Hua. Definitely do not go with someone like Finn. You could absolutely add in someone like Sophia and just double up on Sophia here. Verdehile is a great purple unit for this, and I know at this point I might be rambling, but I'm hoping this was beneficial. I'm grateful to have filmed this, and I look forward to your commentary. And Maichin, I owe you a pizza, okay? Please reach out if you catch wind of this. Enjoy. We'll see you next time.